tonight's show on Sunday, February the 22nd, 8 p.m. Thanks for tuning in and spending your 30 minutes with me on Sunday evening. I appreciate it. This is the live show. Tonight's show is brought to you by Courtroom Number 5, where families are broken apart. Also, my producer got a text this week that there's someone from someone from Lycoming County who's talking smack that does want to raise some money for charity. And I'm glad to hear that because we've gotten away from this a while. Because as you know, the mayor turned down my offer to raise money for charity, having a boxing match with me. But at least he got back to me. The sheriff, Mark Lusk, turned down my offer to have a boxing match for charity, which was a smart move on his part. And then that left the chief of police of Williamsport, Greg Forsman. And of course, I never heard from him. Even though he has talked a lot of smack, but apparently he doesn't want to back it up. And also Eric Linhart, the DA. And of course, he never got back to me, but that doesn't surprise me. From what I understand, he hasn't gotten back to anyone. Remember from our first show, he never got back to the victim in our first show, and neither did any, as far as I know, and neither did any victim group from Lycoming County. So it doesn't surprise me that Eric didn't get back to anybody. But anyhow, my producer tells me that this week a guy named John Stahl that works for Lycoming County, I believe he works for the reentry program, which, by the way, I'm wondering how that's going. We'll have to look into that. But anyways, apparently he's talking a lot of smack, saying he wants to raise some money for charity by getting in the ring with me. Hey, John, according to my producer, I hear you're a little bit portly. But don't worry, you don't have to lose any weight to box with me. I mean, like I said, I'm a solid 195, and even if you weigh more than that, that's no problem, John. My understanding is you talk a lot of smack. So, let's put your money where your mouth is, and let's have a boxing match for charity, okay? Because this is pretty much the last opportunity. Because I'm gonna have to take back my deposit for the venue in Williamsport to have this boxing match, because it seems like that nobody out there wants to box for charity. So, John, if it's true that you've been talking smack and you want to get in the ring, bring it on, bring it on. And like I said, you may want to get in shape because I've been told you're very portly. Maybe this will be good for you in the long run. Maybe you'll get healthy. But anyhow, let's see what you got there, boy. Okay, anyhow, now to a couple things from this week. First of all, I want to get right to Little League Baseball. Not really Little League Baseball time of the year, but I did want to mention that as far as I know, Steve Keener has yet to apologize to all those children that were hurt by one of his teams using ineligible players. Now, it seems to me that he went to the White House with this team from Jackie Robinson West, and that he and his people patted themselves on the back all summer about how the urban initiative was working because of places like Jackie Robinson West. And then, way after the fact, he says, oh, they used ineligible players. Now, I'm not saying that Steve Keener should be able to police the world. What I'm saying is that he spent all summer patting himself on the back, and then it turns out that the whole thing was a hoax. And all I'm saying now is he should be apologizing to those other children. I'm not blaming Steve Keener for the cheating. I'm blaming him for not catching the cheating. I mean, with all that TV money they have, you would think that you would not want to disappoint children. And it seems to me what Little League Baseball did this year was all the teams that were eliminated by Jackie Robinson West Little League should have had the opportunity to keep on going on in the playoffs. And because there's no mechanism in place from Little League, rather than blaming other people, I think they should look in the mirror. And we will get to that in our civics lesson today. It's called The Man in the Glass. Hey, if you disagree with that, please text Pete Straight when the time comes today, 570-244-6600. 570-244-6600. I know we live in Williamsport. I know that it's taboo to say anything negative about Little League Baseball, but the truth of the matter is that based on my Facebook page, I'm not the only one who feels this way. I'm just one of the only ones who's willing to say it. So if you're on Little League Baseball's side in this case, please understand, I am not saying that Little League Baseball cheated. What I'm saying is that Little League Baseball did not find the fraud at the appropriate time and spent all summer congratulating themselves, appearing at the White House with Jackie Robinson West Little League and saying how great everything was, and then after the fact, once it all blew over, then said, oh, by the way, there was cheating going on and we had nothing to do with it. We just didn't find out until now. All right? So make sure you understand, I am not blaming Steve Keener or Little League Baseball for the cheating. I'm blaming them, number one, for not finding the cheating, and number two, for not apologizing to the people that were affected by that cheating. All of the young kids out there who were eliminated by Jackie Robinson West Little League if they truly did use ineligible players. Okay, now, of course, I promised you some information about the mayor, the Republican primary for mayor. As far as I know, there's 2 people running for mayor in the Republican Party, in the Republican primary. There is the current mayor, Gabe Campana, boo, and his opponent that announced this week, Bill Hall. I happened to go to Bill's press conference when he announced this week, and Bill said some really good things. He mentioned, by the way, some of his background, that he actually grew up in an orphanage in Lancaster, Pennsylvania area. He's not a wealthy man. He was an emancipated minor at the age of 16, which is really something. That means he lived on his own from the time he was 16. He worked and went to school at the same time. He also mentioned that the heart of Williamsport is its downtown, but what I really liked was the soul of Williamsport are its neighborhoods. And I think that's something that's been forgotten by the current mayor. I mean, you have neighborhoods of Newberry, you have neighborhoods Jaysburg, you have neighborhoods on Memorial Ave, the former Los area. I mean, there's Valmont area, there's East End, Mid-City. There's a bunch of neighborhoods in Williamsport, and to be honest with you, if you look around them, one thing that really needs done is the streets need repaired. I mean, you can't drive down the street without hitting a pothole that's 4 or 6 inches deep. It's really unfortunate, but I agree with Mr. Hall that, hey, the soul of our city is the neighborhoods, and what we need to do is revitalize those neighborhoods. He also mentioned that there was a surplus when Mayor Campana came into office, and it was an emergency fund, and now that emergency fund has dwindled to basically zero. He also mentioned putting the hoops back up in Memorial Park, which, like I said, that's near and dear to my heart, being a former basketball player and one of the few Division I players from Lycoming County in the last 35 years. As I said before, I believe there's 4 or 5, depending on what you count as a Division I player. 2 of them were from the west end of Williamsport, and the hoops at Newbury Park have been taken down by Mayor Campana. The hoops at Memorial Park have been taken down by Mayor Campana. But my understanding from the press conference that Bill Hall had when he announced running for mayor is that he will return the hoops to Memorial Park, which is great because, as we saw in an article from, I believe it was Mark Maroney in the Sun-Gazette, the utilization of the hopscotch, the foursquare, and the pickleball is near zero. So I'm looking forward to seeing those hoops back in Memorial Park. And also, I'm looking forward to Williamsport uniting for a change. Because rather than promoting derisiveness and different neighborhoods and or levels of wealth separating Williamsport, as I always say, Williamsport, we are family. And I think that Bill Hall can get the job done. From what I've heard so far, things sound good. I'm hoping he puts that into action. So get out, if you're a registered Republican, get out there and vote for Bill Hall for mayor. If you're not registered, make sure you register. I will talk about the Democratic primary at another time, but right now, as Coach White said, you can see this on the archives of my webpage. Go to WilliamsportTalks.com, look in archives. When Mayor Campana and Chief of Police Forsman threatened to have a 73-year-old man, Coach White, arrested for putting a couple portable hoops down at Memorial Park, listen to Coach White. What he said was, hey, back when Williamsport was family, there's no way they could have gotten away with this. And rather than letting it go, we need to stand up and run Campana out of town. All right? Right out of office and right out of town. Anyone who wants to stop hoops from being in Memorial Park or people bringing portable hoops to play basketball, pretty amazing. That guy doesn't belong in Williamsport, that's for sure. He can go play pickleball in some other county. By the way, I did notice the new Y built all kinds of new facilities, not one pickleball court. I guess they didn't read the same study that Mayor Campana did on his own. Okay. Now, we're going to go to the Civics lesson, Civics 101. Pete. As I said, make sure you register. Register Republican, register Democrat, register Independent, but make sure you get out there and register. And then make sure you vote in the primary. Republicans vote in the Republican primary, Democrats vote in the Democratic primary. Make sure you register and vote. As I said, right across the street from the courthouse, Lycoming County Courthouse, where the Santander Bank building and Julie's Coffee, that's where voter registration is. Call down there to Mrs. Adams, Sandy Adams, and say, Sandy, hey, am I registered? And if I am, where do I vote? If you're not registered, get down there and register. It's not that difficult. You just fill out one form, I believe. It should take no more than 5 minutes. Get yourself registered, repeat, make sure you vote. And as I said last week, it's better to lose than it is to cheat. I mean, if you have that choice, do not cheat. It's better to lose than cheat. Put out your best effort. Put out your best effort to win. If it's not good enough, then just go back to the drawing board. Okay, now today, the man in the glass. Now, Mayor Campana, I hope you're listening out there, because this is one for you. Okay, when I was in high school, our basketball coach ever used to hand out a poem called The Man in the Glass. And we talked about how you can fool people, you can fool your parents, you can fool your brothers and sisters, you can fool your school teachers, you can fool your coaches, you can fool your principals, but you can't fool the man in the glass. And who's the man in the glass? The man in the glass is who you look at every morning when you brush your teeth. The person staring back at you in the mirror. The man in the glass, you look at him and say, hey, did I put out my best effort yesterday in school? Did I put out my best effort yesterday in athletics? Did I put my best effort out yesterday in being a son? Did I put out my best effort yesterday in being a brother? That's the question. The man in the glass never lies. Mayor Campana, this is my challenge to you. Have you put out your best effort to unite Williamsport? Have you put out your best effort to make Williamsport We Are Family? Have you put out your best effort to help all the people of Williamsport, or just those who contribute to your campaign? Or those that have some financial interest in your family? That's the question, Mayor Campana. That's what we want to know. I challenge you to text me today on Text Pete Straight. I challenge you to go on my Facebook page. Challenge you to a debate anytime. You know, look in the mirror. Are you fooling the man in the glass? Never. Some of us are holding your feet to the fire, and hopefully this Republican primary, the voters will hold your feet to the fire, and you'll be on the outside looking in. Let's see, I know you had a guy named Jason Fitzgerald contact me to tell me, you know, what a great mayor you've been. But, I mean, he never got back to me. He said he wanted to come on the show, said he wanted to meet for lunch, never did either thing. That sounds like a campaign administration person, doesn't follow up with things. Okay, now, time to set Pete straight. Here you go, Mayor Gabe. 570-244-6600. 570-244-6600. Okay, let me check here. I got one, I think. See here. Set Pete straight. 570-244-6600. Okay, about the mayor. City streets all messed up. A lot of areas potholes. Why can't we use some of that money to fix our streets? Very good question. And that was one of the things that Bill Hall mentioned in his presser on Tuesday when he announced that he was running for mayor. He said, hey, we need to fix the infrastructure of Williamsport and the neighborhoods, and one of those main things is to fix the streets. I agree with Bill 100%. We've got to fix those streets. He also said he drives a taxi, and that's how he gets to know people. Makes a lot of sense that he's not sitting in an ivory tower somewhere. He's out there meeting the people. Very good. Okay, now come on, all you people that are defending Little League. You don't get it? Come on, text me. Text me straight. I want to hear from all those people defending Little League. You know, they congratulated themselves all summer, so set me straight. Tell me how I'm wrong, that they shouldn't be apologizing to the children that were hurt by Little League allowing ineligible players to play. Now, just a little bit of background. Of course, a few years ago, the same thing happened with, I believe, the Philippines, and Little League stripped them of the title and gave it to a team from California. And also, I believe that Little League stripped an American championship from a team from Hawaii, some Polynesian players, and gave the American championship and also to a team from California. You know, where are all those Little League supporters right now? I mean, here's your chance. Don't worry, I don't need to use your name. You know, just, you can be anonymous if you want. Text me. Okay? All right, while we're waiting, a few things about sponsors. Last week, over 12,200 views. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. This is supposed to be entertaining. I know there's a lot of competition out there. And one of the things in competition, by the way, I know when I was young that, you know, Williamsport Athletics put out good products. And unfortunately, so far this season with major sports, it doesn't seem that way. Now, of course, I followed the football team, and we had 2 or 3 wins. And now we hired a new coach. Good luck to Coach Cruz. Let's turn things around. I know the girls' basketball team had a losing record. Lost in the first round of the playoffs. Once again, I remember when Frank Scarfo was the coach, that never happened. So let's make sure we turn things around in girls basketball real soon. Boys basketball were eliminated from the playoffs today. I'm not sure that the athletes are so far inferior today than they were back in the 80s and 90s that we should be going from being a state power to having losing records and losing in district playoff games. So there must be something else going on up there. And let's hope that the new baseball coach from Montoursville can turn those things around, because that's our last major sport left, other than, I'm sorry, about wrestling. So somebody text Pete straight about wrestling. Let me know how our wrestling team made out, because it seems to me that neither football nor basketball from either gender, really is a state power anymore, and hasn't been for quite some time. So I'd like, I for one, as an alumnus, would like to see our athletics get back to where it was, and that is being statewide competitive in every sport. And baseball's coming up. We have a new coach in baseball. Good luck to the new baseball coach, and let's hope you can turn things around. Oh, here's a text. Jim Webb wrote something in his paper about Obama and the Chicago team. Someone is wondering about racism. I will not support his paper, Dan. Dan, you know what? I do know exactly what you're talking about, and believe it or not, I read that article, and remember it was titled, I believe, Chicagoland Disgrace, and it started out something like, no, I'm not talking about the president, and it goes on to talk about Jackie Robinson West Little League, and how that there were some adults there that cheated, which we've gone over already, and it was kind of odd to me that in an article that was about Little League baseball and this disgrace in Chicago, that Jimmy started the article with, no, I'm not talking about our president. And then he ended the article with, this should begin with the man at the top, President Barack Hussein Obama. God bless America. Now, I know, that Jim is really conservative, and I know that he has people that he has to write articles for. And I know he's a local Williamsport person, so he has to really tout Little League baseball. But I don't understand, what place taking shots at Barack Obama is in an article about Little League baseball. It seems to me like the same strategy of a former publisher of that paper, and may that former publisher rest in peace. One that said, hey, if I have nothing else to talk about, let's bash Bill Clinton. Maybe that's the strategy for the Webb Weekly. I'm really not sure. It certainly is a strategy of the Sun Gazette. Last time I checked, our economy has really turned around. We're not fighting wars all over the world. But, hey, if that's your strategy, even an article about Little League baseball, who, by the way, I believe Steve Keener went with Jackie Robinson West Little League to visit the White House. So anyhow, yeah, I don't know about racism, but I do know that it seems like that's the go-to strategy, is bash Obama, bash Obama, bash Obama. Whereas I think the strategy should be, hey, let's try to straighten out Williamsport, because I don't think there's a whole lot that the Webb Weekly can do, with regards to Obama's policies. But I do think that there's a lot that the Webb Weekly could do with regard to the city government policies, with regard to like Cumming County government. This says, why do you always bring up race, Mr. Pete White? Whose side are you on anyways? Look, I'm colorblind. I don't see race in people. What I see is character. I'm a former basketball player. What people in basketball are judged on is your talent, your ability, your skill, not your race. I spent most of my life playing basketball with people of all races. And, I just want to make sure that no one's being cheated. Unfortunately, in Little League Baseball this year, people were cheated, and I think the blame should definitely be on the adults from Jackie Robinson West Little League, but I also think it should be on the central organization of Little League, that allowed this to happen. They have all that TV money, and what are they spending it on? It's certainly not a mechanism to protect the children, in my opinion. I think the mayor does not support the inner city. He does nothing in our community. I mean the black community. Don't vote for him. Sean, you know what? I think you're right. You're definitely right about this. Don't vote for the mayor. If you're Republican, vote for Bill Hall. That's my opinion. I'm I'm not sure what the mayor does for the black community. I do know this. I remember him on one Friday this year inviting people to come and play some basketball at Flanagan Park, and he showed up there with a bag with some basketballs in it. I don't believe he had his sneakers on, and I don't remember one person playing basketball. I mean, I remember the mayor being there, and I remember security being there for the mayor, and I remember him talking over people and maybe doing a little bit of listening, but I didn't notice him getting anyone in the community to play. It seemed to me that he was afraid and he had security down there. I've never seen the mayor at the center when I was at the center. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I never saw him playing at the center. Maybe because they don't have pickleball there. But yeah, I would like to know what his record is for the inner city, for the black community. That's a very good question. That's something probably Mr. Hall should look into, along with the giveaways to Kohl's, the lack of parking spots, things like that. Of course, the ice hockey team outdoors. I mean, basically what Mayor Campana wanted was he made sweet deals with people and then they left town on him and got away with it. How about the Democratic side? Who is running? I thought you said before at a meeting you would support the Democratic side. I am a registered Democrat, and unfortunately in the primary, Democrats run against Democrats and Republicans run against Republicans. So once the general election comes around, then I will evaluate the Democrats as well. As far as I know, there are 2 people who have announced they're running for Democratic mayor of the city of Williamsport. One of them, I believe, announced. Her name is Emily Gale, but Emily has not reached out to me, so I really don't know much about her. And another person I don't believe has announced yet, but he has reached out to me and said he's running for mayor. And once he announces, then I may have a comment. But until he does, I don't have any comment. But the point is you got to vote. If you're a Democrat, vote in the Democratic primary. If you're a Republican, vote in the Republican primary. And if you want to do the right thing for Williamsport, make sure Campana is no longer our mayor. And that's the bottom line here. Okay, a couple shout-outs while we're waiting. There's still another 5 minutes here for Text Pete Straight. Once again, anyone have anything to say about Little League? Let's see who my detractors are. I want to hear from you. Okay, shout-outs. Of course, my paisans from Brooklyn. Miss you guys. Had a great time last weekend. H Block, totally mental. Trying to get someone to help me write a sitcom about H Block. Williamsport proud. Unity, diversity. Coach Cruz and Williamsport High School football program. Let's try to turn things around next fall. The Diggs petition. Let's get Christian eligible from day 1, game 1 next year. Of course, anyone with O positive blood. Got my buddy Mex out in Albany, New York. Got to help him out. Williamsport High baseball. Let's turn it around this year. It's been a couple tough seasons. We're rooting for you. Got a new Coach Twig. Coach Twig hasn't reached out to me yet, but Coach Twig, good luck. Turn things around this year. We're all rooting for you. And remember a couple of my quotes. Williamsport, we are family. It sounds to me like Bill Hall agrees with that. It sounds to me like Gabe Campana does not. Divisiveness should not win elections. Also, my favorite quote, which is on my website, happy are those who dream great dreams and are willing to work hard enough to make them come true. Happy are those who dream great dreams and are willing to work hard enough to make them come true. If you have a goal in mind, figure out a roadmap to that goal. If you need help figuring it out, if it's an athletics goal, find a coach to help you with that roadmap to the goal. If it's an academics goal, go see your guidance counselor or some of your teachers. Get a roadmap to that goal. If it's something your parents can help you with, get the roadmap to your goal from your parents. And then don't let anything stand in your way. If that means missing a couple, events with your boyfriend or girlfriend, or not going to a movie, or missing a little bit of family time because you have other things that you have to do to reach your goal, then you got to do it. And that's what it is. I think the only reason why you got 12,000 views is because of that nice-looking woman on the show, Jackie Walker. What are your thoughts on that? And you have her on for more shows. That makes sense to me. I would have watched the show just to see Jackie Walker. As I mentioned in the show, I mean, she's got a movie star looks. And I would like to have her on the show again, and I will have my producer, Steven, get in touch with her again. Which reminds me that Steven did want to have a show with regard to some divorcees that are a little bit older. So I do have a request into an older attorney in town, a female, who's been divorced for quite some time, well over a decade, to get her on the show, and she can tell us about some of her tips for life after divorce. I know her fairly well. She used to be a school teacher, then she got divorced and became an attorney, and works very hard, is my understanding. And she's very, very experienced in life, so she obviously, could tell us more about life after divorce, because she's had many more years after divorce than Ms. Walker or Ed Alexander. Looks, of course, change when you get older, so she doesn't have the movie star looks that these people have. But like I said, there is an invitation out there. There's also an invitation out to another local attorney that is going to tell us about how to deal with children in divorce. I have some personal experience with her, and she hasn't responded yet, but once she does, I will let you know. Oh, here we go. John Stahl will whip your butt, Peter. Watch what you're saying. Not really know much about John Stahl. I think that he works for the reentry program, which, by the way, how is that going, John? It seems to me everyone that's contacted me about the reentry program is pretty disappointed. It seems like you guys aren't really helping them get somewhere to live, and you're not really helping them get somewhere to work, which is what I thought the reentry program should be about. But like I said, I don't know a whole lot about the guy. I do know that it would be a good chance for him to get in shape, because, as I said, my producer says he's portly. Keep in mind, this isn't a sumo wrestling, John. This is boxing. You know what I mean? So you better do some training. And if you think you can, whip my butt, bring it on. I want to raise some money for charity. I mean, it seems to me that the current mayor, the current DA, the current sheriff, current chief of police, not very charitable people. So if you're charitable, John, let's see it. Contact my producer, 570-244-6600. All right? He tells me you're talking smack out there that, hey, how come he doesn't challenge me? Well, here's the challenge you wanted, John. Let's see what you got. Why not go help the mayor? Go see him. Meet with him like a man. Stop bashing him, Bill. Hey, the invitation is open. As I said, he had one of his cohorts, Fitzgerald, reach out to me, wanted to come on the show. We were supposed to get together, and I never heard from Fitzgerald again. I mean, hey, I'm willing to help campaign. I told him I would help him with the crime problem. He hasn't reached out to me. He has that opportunity. Same thing with Little League Baseball. Hey, if they want some help on how to police themselves, maybe they should reach out to someone who knows what they're doing. Now, I'm not saying I know what I'm doing, but maybe I could help them. So it's not that I'm just bashing the mayor. I'm just saying, hey, mayor, if you run on your record, you're in big trouble. And hey, this is a free speech. Even in Lycoming County, there's what's called free speech, and the mayor is what's called a public figure. So I mean, you're allowed to say whatever you want about the mayor, picking on his record, pointing things out that he's done or not done. He's a public figure. As long as there's no yelling fire in a crowded theater or fighting words or something like that. And here's a good one. What do you feel about Forsman running for judge versus Chris Fry? Forsman is who the Constitution protects us from, the chief of police. A guy that's a real smart aleck and says, hey, Mr. White Boy, I'd love to put you in handcuffs. And then I give him that opportunity to raise some money for charity, and all of a sudden, he curls up and gets in a corner. Chris Fry, on the other hand, is an attorney. So he probably is taking some constitutional law, knows what the Constitution's about, taking some criminal law, knows what criminal law is about. I mean, that's a hands down one. It's not even close. If you have a choice between Forsman and Fry, it's a no-brainer. It's all Chris Fry. Very good text message. Very good text message. Hey, Pete, speaking of roads, and a pile of city tax dollars are paid by industries on Reach Road, and the city still didn't get the paving project completed. Challenge to mayor to drive his Starsky and Hutch car down Reach Road every day. Dave, class of 84. Love it, Dave. That sounds good. I do challenge the mayor to drive his Starsky and Hutch car down Reach Road. Dave, thanks very much for your text. Looks like I'm getting a lot of texts in support of the mayor today. Wonder where his supporters are. I know they listen to the show, because I mean, over 12,200 views. That's a lot. That's a lot of views. That doesn't include the people that watch it live. Doesn't include when more than one person is watching. And by the way, Jason Fitzgerald, where's your chance? Okay, here we go. Want to stay within that half an hour. It looks like the half an hour is up. Steven, my producer, is doing jumping jacks over there trying to cut me off, and I think he's right. So once again, Williamsport, we are family, and can't wait to see you next week.